So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. I've had the iPhone 15 Pro for over 120 days or around 4 months, and I want to give you my honest review on it after that time. Now, I actually switched to this phone as my main phone. This is actually my main iPhone right now, even over the Max. I talked about that more on the Nick Ackerman channel. That's my second channel. You might want to be subscribed to that one, where I share things I don't always share, but I talked about why I switched to this for a month. And then about a couple of weeks ago, I went back to the bigger Max, and I was like, I'm kind of like digging the size. So we'll start there with the size, the body, the feel. Titanium build gives it the same build as the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but also gives it a much lighter weight. So what that translates to is a much more comfortable feel day to day. Now, of course, we've kind of had this feel for a while with the iPhone 14 Pro and the 13 Pro, but this year it got smoother on the back and it got lighter. So it kind of feels like the ultimate refinement and the ultimate feel in the hand over the previous years, because Apple has really just kind of tweaked and refined this product. So it feels like the best ever that they've ever made. And this might actually be one of the best iPhones I've ever held, even though it's kind of boring to this point that they don't really go all out and revolutionize things with the phone. They've made tweaks and refinements that just make it feel so good in the hand, especially at the corners. It's no longer really sharp. The curved edges make it feel really good. The flat display means no accidental presses. And then on the day-to-day, it's super lightweight in the pocket and pretty manageable for most hand sizes. So it might be a sweet spot phone for the majority of people, and has all the high-end features of a Pro model. So on this phone, the battery life has actually been shockingly good. Apple also says that this will get more longevity than the previous 14 Pro, so that's also a good thing. The battery life for me day to day has been very solid. Even though I'm using it kind of heavy, it lasts pretty much the whole day. Now, I'm not going to say this is an extreme user's phone, but I am getting some pretty decent screen on time, and even with multiple various applications open and different use cases, this phone is really lasting me a very decent amount of time. I don't typically even use low power mode either, because low power mode takes off the 120 hertz display, which I absolutely love on this phone, and basically turns this into an iPhone 15. So I leave it off, and I'm still getting essentially a full day of usage with this phone quite easily. And that's even with FaceTime, that's even with phone calls, that's even with watching a bunch of YouTube videos, all kinds of things. So it's definitely really good in that respect. The next thing is the camera. I absolutely love the camera, and I love the pocketability of this phone while having this amazing camera. It feels kind of like a point and shoot size camera. So like a RX100 Sony camera, the point and shoot size cameras. This kind of has that feel, and it feels great. It's enough size to go ahead and view your viewfinder, look at your photos without feeling like it's a tiny phone, but also produces results that are nearly at the top of the game. So here's some photos I took. You can even see how it pulls in the dynamic range really well. It's even able to get that sunlight. Let me lower the brightness. It was able to get this sun beaming off the building there with incredible detail. When you zoom in, though, I feel like some other phones are sharper at the furthest zoom, so it's not perfect there. But generally, I like the colors. And you can see right here, it can't pick up detail super far away like that. But generally speaking, I do think that the camera itself has a really good overall look. And the images just come out super nice pretty much all the time. They're very consistent. This is when I went to the Chicago Auto Show. You can see very consistent here, and really quite nice. I really can't complain whatsoever. Also, the video quality, of course, is top notch. You can see even through this window glass, it was still able to pick up detail on the bricks here. It was able to get these windows and even things behind that. So this is an incredible camera here. Toyota Crown right here. You could see Mustang Mach-E, pretty decent looking right there. That's the back of the Mach-E. I mean, look at the detail. Very well-tuned colors. Nothing looking like over the top in terms of saturation, but also not looking terrible. And then you'll see right here, Toyota Prius 2024. If we go over here, we got the new Santa Fe looking like a Range Rover. You can see like the new tech inside those screens right there. Quite nice. It's a new Sonata right there. So, I mean, just take a look at the detail, though. This was an absolutely perfect camera phone to take to an event like this with great lighting. But even in low lighting, it does pretty well. There's a Chevy Blazer. Pretty nice overall. So I got the toy Tesla Cybertruck right here for our photo samples and video, but I was actually able to see this thing in person, and there was a line around the building for this. But take a look at the type of quality I was able to produce with this camera here on the Tesla Cybertruck, and you could see thing looked like an absolute tank in real life. It basically looks like this right here, but blown up to the real world. This was the line to see the Cybertruck. So drew one of the biggest crowds there was the Cybertruck. And then we do have ourselves the Lambo. I don't know exactly which one this was. I think it was the, it says it right there, the Aventador right there. It's an older one, 2016, but still looks pretty amazing. But yeah, you've seen that the camera is pretty darn incredible. Very versatile too with the macro modes, 2x, 3x, you can go 15. I do wish they would have went 25 like the bigger Max, but other than that, I've been basically incredibly happy with this. I feel like I don't need any other phone in my pocket when it comes to a camera. Now in the area of display, I really like how they reduced the bezels here for the display. I also really like that the dynamic island has some functionality, even though it sticks out in your face. I really don't care about it too much when I'm not comparing it to Android phones, but when I see my other phones that don't have this big pill on the display, it does irritate me when I'm comparing. But when I'm not comparing, I kind of forget about it. Also, I like the color saturation here without being over the top. It's also not too muted or dull, anything like that. It's kind of like at the sweet spot for the iPhone 15 Pro. So you're going to, I think, be pretty happy with the display. I also love how the 15 Pro, you can make it pretty bright and it doesn't really dim too much. I've never had this dim, even outdoors. Like the 14 Pro would be bright for a couple of minutes and then it would just dim down. So this phone doesn't really have that issue. And then having the 120 hertz, it's buttery smooth day to day in pretty much every single thing that you do. It really makes this phone feel elevated to like a more premium level, which is why I don't think they wanted to put it on the base models yet, because they want something to separate them. But I still think the base models deserve this at this point. And you've seen a couple of speed tests. I don't do a ton of speed tests with this phone particularly, but I think I've done a few. So, but you could see the overall performance on here is just ridiculous good. Every day, smooth, every day, butter. And, you know, I know this phone is newer, so I haven't had it long enough to see if it's changing. But even my 13 Pros, my 14 Pros, those phones still perform nearly identical to this. This doesn't feel really any different, and those were never a problem to begin with. So I really do think that this is a highly, highly recommended phone with the A17 Pro chip, 8 gigs of RAM. This is basically flawless performance every day. It really matches up to if you have a MacBook or an M series iPad, for example. Having USB-C has been game changing for me. It has a display port as well, so I'm able to plug this into my monitor. You know, I use Android phones with USB-C and other products, even cameras with USB-C's, headphones. So having this more universal standard has been great. They should have put this a long time ago. I am noticing slight wear around the edges on this titanium blue from just sticking the charge port in there. So that is an issue that can arise. And the audio performance has been pretty stellar, although not as loud as some other phones. If you're wondering what's that hole in my screen, I actually have an upside down. It's so weird. I cracked the screen protector the other day, so I have an upside down Samsung screen protector on here until I get my other one in the mail. So don't worry about that. If it's irritating you, it's just it won't be there for long. But I had some thoughts. What if Touch ID was on there? That would be pretty funny. But overall, yeah, the charging, not the fastest, but the battery life is solid enough, so I'm not too concerned. But just having USB-C has been pretty excellent for this phone right here. Camera bumps on this phone still stick off the body quite a bit, so they do worry me about, like, if you planning to buy this, I would put some protection around these, because all you have to do is hit this once and they could crack these lenses, and that would be terrible. So definitely this still worries me a little bit about this phone. I definitely have protection on this besides when I'm making the video. Reception strength and the mobile performance has also been really good. It really reminds me of what Samsung does in this area. Very good, a strong strength overall. So I have had no issues, no dropped calls, no issues with internet performance, anything like that. Wi-Fi is blazing fast. So the overall connectivity experience has been A1 on this phone. I really enjoyed it. And I honestly have had zero drop calls with this phone. Pretty cool to say, because I used to have more like issues with the mobile performance on the Intel modems, and I used to have a couple drop calls here and there, especially on my iPhone 11, 12 days. I had a couple of those things going on. So wrapping it up, there's not much more I have to say about this. This has been my honest review on this phone after 4 months, so pretty good amount of time with this product. I love that it has a great resale value. I really like the titanium blue. I like the titanium build. I think the phone is definitely kind of long in the tooth in terms of they haven't made a bigger screen size. They haven't really changed it up drastically, but it's at its ultimate peak refinement. So I expect it to change a little bit more this year with the 16 Pro model. But if you bought this, I think you'll be very, very happy with this phone right here, especially if you like this more standard 6.1 inch size range. So it's been pretty stellar. I think that there are phones out there that are maybe a better deal for the price. But overall, this seems like it's still sitting at the top of the hill. So Apple's still doing a very good job here with the iPhone 15 Pro. Let me know your thoughts on it. Do you have one? Are you planning on picking one up? Are you waiting till it drops and comes down in price and then picking one up? Let us know down below in the comments. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Nick here. I'll catch you on the next episode. And peace.